one of the first games where we saw Yumi, and it was kind of insane. And you know what? He's got a Yumi on his team again as Gnar comes out.
Yeah. So the Gnar matchup into the Jax, we did see a little bit of a struggle for Rascal in this matchup against D plus Kia. Now we're going to see it again this time in the Modu matchup here, top side. Fred and Brion have a lot of great engage tools here, and Henna, he's going to have to walk that fine line we've talked about for the Lucian, but I think some of his great moments in that series that they did play against Nongshim was him doing tons of damage, being super aggressive, but the other side of that was often too aggressive and getting caught, and Kwangdong have a composition that will absolutely punish an overextended Lucian here, so got to be very careful as there's that shot of effort finally here. I feel like overall, I want to say I like Kwangdong's composition better. It's more well-rounded, has a lot of late-game power, has a Silas. I trust Bulldog in his laning phase. I think a lot of other mid laners against the Syndra would struggle, but I think he's going to do very well. I'm feeling good about their chances here in terms of what this comp can do if Henna does not get ahead on this Lucian.
It's a Young J fan here. Scream out for Young J. God. And, you know, I think he's got a little bit to go until he reaches that level, but you got to start somewhere. He's going to be playing Sejuani this time. He's a Dudu fan.
One of many. I've always been, I think, one of the biggest championers of Dudu because he's been on weaker teams but has been a star player up in his own right. And picking this matchup here, the Jax open into what will be the counter pick of the Gnar. It's going to be a skill-based matchup, but Morgan has the range advantage here. We saw this go, as I mentioned, very poorly for Rascal, the only time we've seen this matchup so far this season.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes this time as we hit the rift for Brion versus Kwangdong Freaks. All right, here we are, already match 8 here in the LCK 2023 spring.
Now, with a lot of 2-0s, it does feel like the week has flown by in a lot of ways. Had our Saturday showdown just before this.
Yeah, I'm ready to hunker down though. You know, it's Brion time. We got our Giga chance all around us.
Our longest 2-0 just a few days ago.
We can sit back. Thing is, though, is that Brion's comp is not necessarily, you know, a big-time scaling comp. I do feel like Lucian Nami has shifted some of their power more towards the mid-game.
Yeah.
But, no, late game still relatively strong, but it's not like you've got, like, insane hyper carries on this roster or anything like that.
Yeah. I think that you have a composition that can play around objectives extremely well if the positioning is good. And
yeah, their turn is great.
Their turn is great, right? And if you get the faster setup on Drakes, as we know Brion loves Drakes, their favorite thing.
Is Drake their favorite rapper, though? What do you think?
I would say, you know, decent chance. Decent chance.
You think so?
I mean, he's just pretty popular these days. All the kids love, you know? Although I guess, you know, we're getting older, you know?
Yeah, maybe the kids don't love him.
Yeah, maybe we're just in the wrong generation here. I do want to point out that we do see once again the first strike variation for the Maokai here for Umpty, and he did go for the Scorch Pet. And we have Karis taking Electrocute on the Syndra, not going for the poke with the Airy to try to poke out in lane and get that harass done. Can still obviously harass with Electrocute, more difficult to proc in the early levels. Very strong, I think, in mid-game fights, though. Adds a lot of extra burst.
Yeah, it's very nice. That's essentially going to be his role, is to be, you know, somewhat CC initiator plus burst AP carry. A lot of the AP damage from him and, of course, the Maokai. As Maokai is on a big winning streak, 6 in a row. Definitely some nice names on that list, including Umpty, I believe.
Yeah, speaking of Umpty, I'm going to go for the flash here.
This is the most Giga Chad move. I mean, what can you say? This is the way. I mean, Peanut kind of championed it, and he's going to try to go over the wall here, but you're going to get knocked off, and he's not even going to bother flashing because he knows he's already done Umpty amazing gank, perfectly timed, very well read, right when the lane was in a perfect spot. Nicely done by Henna and Effort as well.
Yeah, Henna and Effort putting the wave in this place, and you can get kind of tricked, I think, as the Zeri Yuumi, when you're starting to take some trades like that, you have that sustain into thinking like, wow, I can get this wave into the mid part of the lane and we're not going to be under that pressure early. And, you know, ward in the brush, in the river, you feel safe until Umpty wall flashes and gets on top of you. So, you know, Taeyun and Moham here, not doing anything wrong per se, just kind of getting caught with their pants down a little bit here by an unexpected play from Umpty. The cost is great, obviously, because you use your flash for this, but well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to get that lane ahead and get Henna online just a little bit quicker. And Umpty, he has always been the guy for Breon and for this roster for so many years now. That always gets it started, and a lot of their early game has depended on him. A lot of times, Bro would just kind of sit back and lane, and it wouldn't necessarily be dominating lanes or anything like that. It would be up to Umpty to make ganks happen, otherwise they would kind of fall behind. And here he is, making a gank happen.
Yep. Up here on the top side, Youngjae spots him out. Is going to...
Umpty spots him out.
Yeah, they spot each other, you know. And it's a little bit of sapling action. And nothing exciting will come of this, but yeah, Umpty I think is a player that reminds me so much of some of our other early game junglers we've had over the last few years who were so defined by that playstyle, like Dread, for example, who isn't in the LCK this season, but it's been such a aggressive early game jungler. So Umpty avoids both of these wards here in the river and flashes this, and by the time you flash Tri-Brush there, even if there's a ward in that Tri-Brush, it doesn't matter. It's too late by the time you see him here if you're this far up in the lane. He waits patiently for the wall ride, and as you mentioned, Taeyun's not going to flash for this. Moham is like, I'm sorry, I'm evacuating, and just as simple as that.
Moham did heal and exhaust, which... You know, I guess a little bit questionable. The exhaust was like a slight bit late, but what are you going to do? It's like, you know, just not try and save everything. I think if they had used everything and maybe reacted a split second faster, there was a chance to actually get out, but I think it's better to just leave it as is, keep the flash on Taeyun so they can actually have some lane presence for the next 5 minutes.
And with the trades in this matchup, too, with the Lucian, if you decide you want to just try to back off, like it can cost you a lot of power and wave positioning, so you can't just, you know, you probably don't want to be pushing that far up and you want to be walking back when you're not last-hitting minions, but you can't just say, well, I don't want this lane to be here. You don't get to control that necessarily in this case. So just a little bit of greed there and good setup from Henna and Effort.
Yeah, and now take a look at this. Umpty says, well, I scratched your back, you scratch mine. They push the wave as Bulldog's getting in there. Very nice trade, gets just right outside the turret aggro, which is very good. But yes, this first Inferno on the bottom side, just, you know, building upon the snowball that Umpty started. And he has been on top of Youngjae the entire time outside of the one gank, right? He spotted him top, kept Morgan safe, went to the bottom side, won that skirmish, and then he was able to take the Drake with his bottom lane. Umpty is dominating the Rift right now.
Certainly is. As that early Giants belt. Bulldog hits level 6, won't be able to use this ult in this skirmish. And yeah, during all of this, they also come over and get a good trade. Bottom side, Henna and Effort do. They're on to Taeyun and Moham, who are just slightly behind in that experience, so they're going to get a nice free back here. And, you know, the early parts of the Zeri Lucian matchup generally go this way, but, you know, when you have the help of a great jungler like Umpty, who's really gotten so much map control, who's tracked Youngjae so well, as you say, it was a lot easier to get that free back and to manage these waves extremely well. Effort just going to come up here and roam mid to assist during the back timing of Henna. And we do see a first strike here for Bulldog once again, similar to what we saw from Chovy earlier, looking for that early Rod of Ages. We'll keep track of what timing he gets that. Already has his Catalyst online.
Youngjae is top side of the map, so is Umpty, and they knew that Umpty was on the top side of the map. They didn't know exactly where he was, though, so they knew, okay, there's a chance that Umpty's right there for the counter gank. And to be honest, I'm Youngjae. I'm like, oh, man, this guy is everywhere that I am. So I think I'm just going to back away. Obviously, Mega Narva's coming up, and Morgan has Flash, so chance of that gank actually working pretty low in the first place. So he takes it the safe route and just goes home.
Just so much vision in the river. 3 control wards. Bulldog just going to use this ult to clear this wave away and try to scout out if Umpty is lurking nearby because it was timing out. He's going to take a back opportunity here. You can use that Silas first hijack to get a back, as we saw Chogi do in the previous series pretty nicely. And this is Bro with this timing of the back for Bulldog, which was very telegraphed, obviously. They're just going to group up and take Herald, and they have full control over the river, full control ward vision from top to bottom. So Henna and Effort with that push can come up to mid. They're not going to miss any minions here while Karis holds this choke point with Scatter. It's clean play from Breon right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say anything negative about this. The top lane, Dudu is ahead in CS, but, I mean, the Jax has been often picked in the Gnar and feels like a pretty good matchup. And it has been pretty unaffected by the junglers outside of just, you know, that one moment where they kind of just locked eyes and that was about it. The observers here also showcasing the immense amount of vision that Fred and Breon have, so that's going well for them as well. Hongdong Freaks not massively behind, but certainly Breon, rather, have gotten a nice little lead for themselves.
Plate Gold potentially could be huge here, as we're going to see a 3v3 contest on bottom side, and the advantage goes to Umpty because he has those two control wards. He sees Youngjae right now on this ward, can sapling him, take this scuttle, get some extra movement speed from that. And right now, Taeyun and Moam need to be very careful about how far up they are in the lane.
Youngjae is going extremely deep for this. I mean,
Karis isn't in lane, so you know,
okay.
There's an angle there, but I was also, until I noticed that, I didn't notice that, I was like, scary, scary choices.
The man is angry.
Yeah, Bulldog's going to grab a plate here, which is massive in his race for that.
Oh.
Cool guys don't look at plate breaks.
Yeah, they don't panic either.
No. Never.
Even
panic.
after yesterday, still not panicking.
Nope. Never. Not going to happen. That's the slogan. That's the rules.
Yeah.
You lose your cool kid status if you panic. That's what it means.
Not allowed to be a Live Sandbox fan if you panic.
No. I mean, you could be a non-cool kid who's a Live Sandbox fan.
True.
I like to think that all
Then you're
Live
not
Sandbox
cool.
fans are cool, you know, personally.
Yeah.
That's my personal take, but that's why Chronicler's so cool.
Sure seems that way, yeah. He's a good example.
Yeah. He's our biggest testimonial.
Mm-hmm.
We do have this group up around second Drake here for Breon.
Ooh, bringing the ult out here as flashing away from the tidal wave. Taeyun is getting on top of Henna, but it's not quite enough as they do get pretty low as well. And
Karis is
guess
coming.
who's bot first? It's Umpty and it's Karis. I don't think this is going to end well for Taeyun and Moham, as Taeyun will go down. Moham is not quite able to jump as he did get rooted. That is a couple of kills. And the trade was really close, but guess what? The difference maker is Umpty and Karis.
Sometimes you're looking at the small things, the micro fight there, in terms of dodging there. That was beautifully played from Taeyun, but the big macro picture is your mid laner's not coming down faster. Umpty's got the fast track. You know where Youngjae is, or where he isn't specifically in this case, is backing you up. And you've got to remember, too, that Bulldog knows that Karis has the fast track. He should be calling this out, and it's a group up for Drake, right? This is the timing in which everyone on Breon is trying to come over here and take this second Drake anyway. So what could have been a really cool play there for Taeyun, and mechanically, in the isolated 2v2, if we take the rest of the map away, it was well played. Within the grand scheme of things, you get punished here. Now, 2,000 gold on top of a 2 Drake lead for Breon. And, you know, this is not something that can't be recovered from for Kwangdong Freaks. They have really good scaling aspects
Yeah.
of the comp, but it's certainly not the Pays Zeri angle so far that we're seeing.
They got the consolation prize of the Hextech Drake, so that's just going to happen.
They actually did get it with the
Breon, yeah, they all had to back, so it's just meant to be. And yeah, I mean, Taeyun, maybe better communication, has to know that they can't all in at this exact time.
Yeah, I mean, look at where, like, miles away, unfortunately, was Bulldog, you know? And he has to be communicating. Yeah, like, he has to be communicating, I'm not there, as this is happening. I think this is just a moment where you see Taeyun pulls the trigger, sees blood in the water, and he's like, I am going to force this fight. I see a window. And when you're a newer player, like Taeyun has a lot of experience, obviously, but not so much in the LCK. You have that instinct of, I can actually make this play happen, pick up some gold on Zeri really early here, and actually accelerate my way to my first Mythic. You end up missing out here big time, unfortunately, because the communication isn't on point. Which is, I think, in a lot of ways, kind of odd considering how good the communication seemed in that first matchup for Guangdong.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that's definitely going to be something they have to work on. Perhaps June was doing a good job of, keeping the reins on in their first series. Jonas Strong was trying to show, by the way, that Effort did flash the wall because they were getting collapsed on. So little thing there. Effort doesn't have flash at this moment in time. But that's about it. Top lane, we keep looking up there for some reason. Morgan has caught up a little bit in CS. And it's not as far behind. Other than that, Fredit Brion, not Fredit, just Brion. Still difficult.
Not just me this time.
Yeah. Chronicler had a counter of how many times people were going to mess up D plus Kia's name. I got that one right, but still working on Brion. Here's Bulldog. Gonna miss that one, but the Gnar is available. Better Gnar, Morgan just gonna flash away. And everybody's like, whoa, that was crazy. He used his flash. Wow.
It's got Hearthbound X, which I think is part of why this is starting to go a little bit better for the Gnar, is you can get that extra movement speed with that item on your way to your first Mythic, and just dodges very nicely there, then flashes. Loses a flash, but still much better than losing your life there. And Bro, I did misspeak earlier because we were in a replay and I thought they were taking the Drake, but they didn't get the Drake, but they still have a pretty massive lead, and dealing with that cross-map play staves off all the pressure they need to grab the bottom turret. So we're looking at gold across the board here for everyone, and we're starting to get closer to rapid fire cannon here. Gale Force has been up for a while, and Guangdong Freaks haven't been able to start a 5v5 team fight on their terms. And yes, it's a Zeri scaling comp, but it has such good initiation. It can fight earlier than a lot of other Zeri comps would like to. And that Zeri moment is what Taeyun and this Guangdong squad is looking for here on an early objective, but they missed the boat on the Drake. They got the Drake, but not the Drake fight they wanted. Got the, Herald did Bro, and the whole turret means that it just gets a little bit more awkward here. We still have 2 minutes to go before the next objective spawns.
And Youngster's just going to start this one up.
How about this?
Umpty says immediately, no, you're not allowed to do that, but they do have to be careful about overextending here. Umpty's kind of alone, so they just burst him down. A huge amount of damage coming out from the Guangdong Freaks squad.
Taeyun's still very healthy here, but remember, he's still early game Zeri. So holding on to the aggro here on this Herald is a lot tougher than it looks. They may just reset. Hannah's going to go just straight mid.
He's like, yeah, enough with that. Can I just Gale Force someone in mid? Oh, well, you found your option. He is dead. Karis with a massive scat of the week. And that is going to alley-oop. Nice amount of damage comes out from Henna as well.
Yeah, just burst damage there with the ultimate 2 coming through, and that's the end of Zeri. And it was really risky for Guangdong to latch onto this Herald, but knows how far away Morgan is in this fight, and the Maokai ultimate coming through. You feel like maybe with that, and of course the Nami ult coming through, you could save him. So you feel pretty immortal starting that one up. A little bit greedy with the turn there, and the attempt to contest, and then this is just Taeyun at max range. Goodbye.
And, if the Blast Plant wasn't upgraded, he wouldn't have made it over that wall that fast, and he wouldn't have died.
Wow, you're really pushing the narrative.
So, you know what? I think the Chemtech Soul is not, it's not good. Just thought I should make that obvious.
Well, it's getting buffed in a future patch. We'll see. I mean, it's pretty good for Zeri. It's overall, yeah, it's kind of like the new old Cloud, but like it's the one we got, man.
It's like the new old Rod of Ages.
Now you've lost me.
That one is really good.
That one, the new old Rod of Ages.
Yeah.
Yes, that one is actually good. It's very good. In fact, 6 stacks of it on Bulldog right now. But this Drake is going Brion's way here, uncontested. And with Zeri being 0-3 and still without the Immortal Shield Bow here, Taeyun just, as much as they would have liked to try to set up for him to get kills, now it's just he's a liability more than anything else here.
Up to your own vision. It's going to allow them to just back away as actually Youngtae goes in alone, but Bulldog is looking for the flank, trying to take out Effort here. The tidal wave does sail a bit wide as Bulldog's in alone, but now Dudu is able to split up the fight as well. Double flankers finally get the job done. wasn't the cleanest, but they do pick up a kill here for KDF.
Yeah. And you could see why Kwangdong kind of held their ground there after they saw Umpty, because they knew that they have this really awesome flank angle. This is extremely well played by Kwangdong, as this will charge through, but not going to get the turret. They were really patient with this, and with the flanking Sylas, you know you can get on top of Effort. He has flash, but one of the best ways to siege a turret like this, when you have this many minions, is to actually save the Maokai ultimate for the turn so that you can't get flanked and you have a really nice escape angle. But as soon as he uses it here aggressively, they don't have enough damage or long range here to actually follow up, and it's really easy for Sylas to just go, well, there's no Maokai ult anymore, I'm coming in. Forcing the flash out of Effort there, grabbing some kills and some extra gold. One kill, the first one to Taeyun. He picks up his Immortal Shield Bow now. We're still a ways away, but hey, one step in the right direction.
Yeah, he was pretty far behind Lucian, as you mentioned before. So good for him to pick up something, begin to get some of the crit online. As Breon really want to take down this mid turret. Like, this has been their focus for, it feels like, 5 minutes. And they finally do it.
Speaking of doo-doo.
Here he is.
That's demolished.
That's doo-doo. Yep, that's him.
Yeah, but he won't doo-doo it this time. We'll get shut down. And, I mean, a lot of resources committed to that. Like you say, losing that team fight, then grouping up as 5, giving Jax the ability to do a ton of damage to that bottom side turret. It doesn't quite take it out, but gets a lot of free space. And it looks like a trap might be set up here. Karis is too wise to it.
Yeah. Karis is a very wise player.
He certainly is, isn't he?
He oftentimes takes his time. It's taking him a little bit to really stake his claim for his spot on the LCK. But he is a strong player, just only getting slowly but surely stronger.
You know who he reminds me of a lot, and this is going to be a reference that only StarCraft fans get, but not Impact the League of Legends player, but Impact the StarCraft 2 player, who was like a Brood War trainee for a while. Just kind of came and played behind Jaedong for a really long time, the same way Karis played behind Chovy, BDD, right? And he eventually did become a great player, but it took a long time, right? He was a young player, and then everyone was like, well, how long do we say he's a young player? I think Karis is one of those examples of you can see the clear talent as this turret does go down. You can see the clear talent in this player, right? And I think he potentially is going to be one of the greats. Just needs a little bit more time.
Bit of a rotation. Dudu is on the run, is going to dodge that one and has to flash away. No further houses to be thrown. And Dudu will be just fine. No action allowed. We do have the straight coming up here in a minute and a half, though, so maybe, just maybe, Kwangdong Freaks will fight for that one.
It is almost 2-item Syndra here for Karis. He's probably sitting on just under enough gold to finish that Seraphs. He's got his tier stacked up. It's going to be a big spike for him in these fights. He's had his Leandries for a while, but this is going to add so much extra damage to that. The side laning here for Kwangdong has been great. Grabbing both of those outer turrets, and the mid turret is nearly down. Gold difference here much smaller after that, you know, failed mid ult from Umpty in that dive that didn't succeed, and the amount of resources spent to mid buys Kwangdong a lot of time. One kill only on the Zeri, but Sylas is starting to come online, truly. Has finished stacking his Rod of Ages, so is close to level 16. And suddenly this game is a lot closer than it was moments before, and if Zeri had that second eye on the Phantom Dancer online, you know, you could maybe make an argument that you're ready to fight actually for the soul point. Drake, 30 seconds to go. With no Zeri second item here, it's going to have to be out-positioning that wins the day here for Kwangdong, but they may just simply decide to push Sylas deep into the top lane and threaten inner instead. Tough call to make right now. You don't want to give that soul point over, but it is Chemtech soul.
Umpty's doing a really good job of just posturing really aggressively, trying to create essentially a wall pretty far up on the battlefield, trying to clear out all the vision, deny control wards. They already have control of the river. There are no flank wards for Kwangdong Freaks. So if they want to enter this fight, it's got to be, you know, like this, through the bottom lane or something like that. As here we go, Bulldog is insanely tanky because he's level 15. He's got a Rod of Ages. And through all of that, he will live and he will heal up, as he is Sylas.
Now they're going to try to circumvent this positioning here for Breon on the bottom part of this Drake. Taeyun's position needs to be perfect here. If he gets caught, it is all over. Bulldog's very low here to carry this fight.
He's going to get healed up a bit, but that is a very nice scatter once again. Even Youngjae has taken a big chunk. He's got a Warmogs, but I don't think it's ready to be regenning at this point in time. As here we go, the stolen ultimate will come through as in goes the Jax, immediately pushed away. It's stolen by Silas as Bulldog is going to take it down. Umpty a little bit trapped here with Taeyoon. Might have to flash out of this one as Dudu is unkillable with the cat on his back, but now they're looking to turn here. Dudu gets a bit lower, and the scatter again. Karis just keeps on hitting these. As again, guys, Bulldog is actually unkillable. Don't even, yeah, they're like, yeah, okay, he's unkillable. Fine, we'll leave him. But this is a massive fight for Bro, and also, I know, I was joking about the Silas. They're actually going to go straight to the Baron.
It's crazy how, and they are going to go to this Baron with low health bars, but with Silas seemingly backing, they feel safe about this. He's not actually at level 16 just yet. His hijack just came back online. He's coming over here. They've got a sense for this. I think it's going to be a little bit too late. However, the sapling going to slow Youngjae down.
Umpty might have to sacrifice. Bubble is good, and the scatter again. Syndra's so good in this meta.
Syndra is super good in this meta.
Karis is playing like a boss.
You also have two items here, right? Hits the spike right before the Drake fight, but you talked about how there's no flank wards. So in order to set up this Bulldog hijacked Maokai ultimate, he had to teleport mid, dealt with all of that pressure, harassed, then walked all the way around to set up for this, which is what allows them to zone out and go for a 50-50 split, which they miraculously win. This is about as good as it gets for Kwangdong Freaks, but Bulldog makes the heroic play. There's no vision, there's no flank wards, there's no way to actually try to trap the backline. So he has to fight his way all the way around. Remember, he started on the other side of this one, completely around, gets rooted here, and still gets in here to steal the Drake away. And with that Maokai ult coming through, Reddit Brion can't collapse quickly enough. Look at where Hannah is in this fight. They all split beautifully here against Dudu, cost them several summoners in order to do so, but this is when the turn happens, right? The fight is won for Bro, but they still lose that Drake. So 5 minutes of extra time here bought for the Zeri to get 3 items.
Yeah, it was excellently played. You're able to kite so well with Lucian and Syndra together. Not to mention everybody else on the team.
Nami.
Yeah, they were just able to feel the pressure and then turn right back when the time was right. So excellently done in the team fight there from Brion. And now they've got Baron here. It's not a massive gold lead. Again, it's only about 2,500. Dudu is pretty massive. You know, Bulldog has hit level 16. Car's still on 14. He doesn't have that rod, right? So, you know, it feels, although Brion were able to get this massive objective in a pretty good team fight, they're not getting a huge amount of value out of this.
They really aren't. Syndra, with no vision here, you know, of where the Sejuani is, which you see some question mark things, I guess, gauging where he should be. The control wards here on the river. Youngjae is bodyguarding for Dudu to take this turret.
Flash away. And a tidal wave is coming through. We have Umpty on the way as he's going to flash as well. Now teleport coming in as we are going to look for Dudu even on the side of Umpty, just trying to get as much value as possible. As in comes the Gnar. Finally, a house is going to hit onto Dudu. That's going to be the one, and the scatter will be enough to collect the kill. So that's 2 big kills in the side lane that will be given over to Brion.
It looked really scary there for a moment, like perhaps Bro had been out macroed because Syndra was top side there. Karis, a lot of question mark pings. He was very slow to move up because he didn't know where Youngjae was. But the second they find out where he is, they collapse in. Morgan is there to try to shut down this push, and he's concerned that he's going to get collapsed on by the Sejuani that they don't see. But they have TP. So they get that top turret and TP over and actually end up taking both kills. Beautifully played here from Bro. Very fast reaction time there. And Karis really playing both sides. Side lanes very well here. Top side, and then comes down and picks up his 4th kill of the game. He is massively ahead. So look at him on the mini-map here. Karis, top side. Morgan buys a ton of time here. Effort also with the tidal wave. And then Umpty comes over with ult. The call is made for Karis to TP in, and this hits just barely, so they decide to go on to Dudu. Like you said and called in the play-by-play, as soon as they catch Dudu, they're like, well, this is actually a double. We're going to make that teleport worth it. Scatter hits. It's 2 kills going over. 500 more gold over to Karis.
He's pretty massive at this point in time. As you can see, he's got his Void Staff now. So if he was having a little bit of issues with the Sejuani in particular, he won't be from here on out too much. And now we will have another Drake on the way, about 30 seconds Quantum Freaks, it feels like they are really trying to play around Brion at this point in time. It feels like they don't feel too confident to take team fights just yet. Maybe they're waiting for a third item on the Zeri because you'll note there's 4 people top, right? They're just trying to split push against Bro.
They keep protecting the side lane of the split pusher. And because they won that 50-50, this Drake that's spawning right now for Brion to take is not actually Soul, but simply Soul Point. They grab a whole turret here, and they're like, yeah, you guys are grouped for Drake. We're grouped for money because we want the Zeri to get some extra gold to get those items. Now, well, Zeri was not actually picking up that gold top side, but is just trying to let this wave push in to farm freely. It knows the respect Taeyun shows here as well, because he's like, they're on Drake, but how close are they to the Drake? I don't want to get collapsed on. I don't want to get punished here. But any sort of time buy like that 50-50, this is why we're talking about how it's so impactful here. It means that they're closer and closer to a real potential team fight here. Not gonna lie to you guys, it still feels very grim because Karis is giga-fed and Morgan is level 17. It's definitely a
See what you did there, by the way.
Yes.
Giga Chad.
Giga Chad.
That's really clever. Yeah, I like that.
Gotta do it for the Lord. And in 1 minute's time, it doesn't look like Taeyun's going to have that third item online. Doesn't quite have enough money. He's getting very close. But Brion have this setup here. And Dude is trying to make this I'm split pushing bottom. Someone has to react. I have TP. Like, he's trying to do Jax things here. Let's see if it's successful, because this is the same play they attempted last time. Youngjae comes up here with some control vision, knowing that they don't know where he is. And Karis doesn't have teleport this time.
Yeah, you know, that was almost a really nice set play, but there are 2 plants to spot him, so no fun to be had in the bottom lane. Bulldog, again, going to be split pushing in the other lane. Just setting up this one.
Playing tennis.
Feels very strong by himself.
Yeah, they're basically playing tennis a little bit here with Brion. Pulling them all bottom side there. Then you see the side lane comes through for Bulldog. Getting closer to his death cap here. Level 17. It's only temporary what they get bottom side here. And as Bulldog backs, this might be the time to pull the trigger now for Brion here on this Baron, as it just comes to spawn. This is going to be probably the fight that decides the game, very likely.
Yeah. So that effort to use the Scryer's Bloom on the top side actually backwards to try to check for more flank wards. Like, look at how meticulous they are.
Yeah.
They're like, if we get flanked by Silas or Jax, we're probably going to lose. So as long as that doesn't happen and we can kite them back, we will have a good chance in these team fights. We will have great turn, as you did talk about at the very beginning of this game.
Yeah.
And they're doing a great job of setting up exactly what their win condition is in these team fights.
Really would love to see Taeyun's gold right now. He's got one more wave. He's going to pick up here in mid. And the rest of his team's just trying to buy time. He's got to be so close. He doesn't have enough just yet.
It would be nice if he could push up and actually farm.
Yeah, he has to wait for these to come through, which means they lose control of Baron. Catch-22 problem here. Look at all the control wards. This is actually insane.
I think he has enough, right? I think it's 13-25. Either way, they are going in now. No IE available as, okay, Maokai versus Maokai. And a little bit of a flank here from Morgan behind Bulldog. But again, those guys are really scary individually, especially with the Yuumi on their back.
All right, somebody might have to TP to deal with this. They can't actually do Baron right now. This is a big problem here. Once again, Bulldog comes in, steals the Yuumi ult, starts an engage, doesn't actually have to commit, or the Yuumi ult goes through on top of him, doesn't actually have to commit further, and Jax gets inner turret. Bro lose control of Baron and lose all of that control ward vision they had on the Baron pit. So much, actually, of the map lost here, and if Brion can't start dealing with these split pushes a little bit better, they might end up losing out on this one. The 1-3-1 is strong.
Yeah, it's kind of insane how consistent the pressure is as well, as this is a nice item value chart that we do have here, including showing what they are currently holding and how much they have earned.
Yeah, the IE is complete now for Taeyun, so they bought enough time with that Jax push.
Still, Henna is 1.2K ahead in item value, plus he's got an extra 1,700 in the pocket. So could be potentially, item ahead at some points here, as long as he goes back and spends that gold.
See effort calling from home here on this setup.
Agent 007.
There he is.
He's undercover. That's why he's not here.
I was going to try to make a "they call me Bond" joke, but it's not. I mean, nothing works. Let's just call him 007.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We'll leave it at that. Dudu once again trying for this. No Sejuani attached to him this time around. And looks like we're just going to have Bro decide to group up for the easier objective here, the Drake. It's taken that long.
Okay, that's a lot of damage on the Young Jay. He has to turn and throw an ult. I mean, look at how low he is. That is just one button press from the Lucian.
And if he backs here, you know, it's going to be a big problem in terms of the smite.
But he does have Warmogs, by the way.
He does have Warmogs, yeah, that's true. And Radiant as well, so.
Yeah. Oh,
actually,
hold up.
Yep, he's back up. It's okay.
Okay, well, we
Still
do
gonna
have
lose the
the
Drake.
recall back from the Syndra, but again, in the solo 1v1, like, Cars can't step up to that Silas. It's not going to happen. The TP comes in here for Kwangdong. They are going to start up this Baron. And yes, Breon got the Chem Tech Soul, but is that going to help them in this fight? Megan are about to time out here, too.
Yeah. If Lucian's at less than half health here, that's probably not a good thing. So he's not going to get much advantage out of this. Same with the Syndra, right? So not too huge for their composition. Bulldog actually has the Syndra ult. He's circumvented the entirety of Breon here. Breon, you're going to have to make a call here.
Zon Vision. They still don't know where Bulldog is, but they have a pretty good idea. Okay, now they know. Sapling is going to hit him. Morgan trying to build up into that Meganar. He's doing so much damage to that front line, but Karis has to be so careful. In the 1v1, as I mentioned, he's not going to have a good time, but Bulldog separated from his team. Henna getting the focus of the camera as well. As we track him out of the top side. Effort is in no man's land, nearly dies to the Sejuani. And now Henna is alone as TPs are coming in. This is a wild fight, as Young Jay might be the one guy who gets left out to dry, and he absolutely will be, as a massive Gnar jumps over the top and takes him down. So now no jungler for Kwangdong.
Oh, this was so well handled from Bro. At the beginning, it looked very worrisome, as they're going to try to maybe look for a split push here to win the game. TP coming through. Morgan sees it, though. It's really easy for Bro to just back off here and defend. They'll stop the Baron this way, though.
Taeyun also walks straight into a scatter. Just straight into it, like perfectly on the timing of where that was going to drop down. And Kwangdong now a little bit out of sorts, as Bulldog is not even able to take down Henna. Very nicely handled there. So very desperate attempt to push and end the game. Again, there's no inhibitor there.
It's just a Hail Mary at this point. You're just hoping that...
So now Bro can end the game.
Yeah, you're just hoping that Bro gets stuck on Baron and you could delay, but you don't have good delay. You telegraphed it with a teleport, and Karis is like, all right, let's sandwich.
Telegraphaport?
Yes. And you get the best target.
It's the new name.
And
anyway, continue.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much else to say here. They stopped the last attempt there from Kwangdong, and the side laning was so close to turning this one, but they didn't have enough time.
Dudu is pretty strong, but again, he's alone, and there's no Yumi at this point in time. He is going to flash. They are desperately trying to hold on to these Nexus turrets. They are going to get rid of the minion wave, which is most important, but Breon realized it, and Henna's got different ideas. He nearly blows up Taeyun, but nearly blows up himself as Morgan gets a bit baited. This is not a clean game.
No, it's not.
This is insane.
It's not going to end here either necessarily. The Nexus turret is about to go down here. They do just with that respawn of the inhibitor minions, actually, or the super minions from mid. Stop it.
No TP for Dudu, otherwise they probably would have lost the game.
Yeah.
And that's like 20 seconds away.
Yeah.
Just like, think about that.
By the way, as a result, someone is going to have to stick back here, which means Kwangdong Freaks may get the Baron. Like, this game is still winnable.
It's alive!
How much health? 60, 61 went down.
It was lower than that, too.
Yeah. Kwangdong Freaks have such a strong win condition here, which means that Fred and Breon have to clear this wave for a long time before they can actually start up the Baron. I'm a little bit surprised that Kwangdong didn't try to use that pressure to actually start the Baron themselves and go for a turn, as they're going to put Dudu in a side here, try to hide him on the map, that he can come in and end the game if he's given enough space. And also, of course, threaten that bottom inhibitor on the opposite side of the map. They can slow us down. Zeri now, you know, on that nearly GA, getting very close here. Taeyun's level 15, so the side laning from Dudu bought so much time. He's even got the Spear of Shojin now, too, so he can team fight pretty nicely, too. This game is wild.
Yeah.
Well, I've stumbled through it a few times, I'll be real with you.
We are definitively off the rails for sure. That is one thing I can say. Now, Dudu is a little bit far away. Brion have to be so careful about not getting stuck in this pit. How many times have we seen this in League of Legends?
A lot. Here we go. TP's going for the fight.
He's going in for the fight, and unfortunately, Youngjae tries to get in there and immediately dies. So that was not the call from Kwangdong. They are not able to get the split push. They are not able to challenge the Baron, and Brion will take game number 1, as this is a rout, unless Dudu has, rocket boots and he's just going to run down mid or something. But not looking likely.
He doesn't have TP anymore because he TP'd to the fight, and I would love to hear the comms in that moment for Kwangdong, because it seemed like there was a very split call between delaying and actually just forcing the fight. Bro more decisive. And that's going to be it. Nothing clean about it, but I thought we had a fantastic early game for Brion, right? They managed the Lucian comp very well. They controlled the map. They had insane vision setup, trapped the Jax multiple times. Eventually, he became too tough to stop, though, in the side lane. And it started to look like, Kwangdong could come back here if they keep getting these side lane pushes, delaying the Baron. Infinity Edge comes up for Zeri. Suddenly, we're talking about GA, and it started to look like, oh man, Dudu almost did it. But in the end, they make the call to turn on the Baron a little bit late. The TP comes through. They just kind of throw everything into that fight and lose the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Brr. Oh. Fnatic.
The sneaky Fnatic gets him
there was
every
something
time.
Coming. Yeah. Okay. Bro. Nicely done. But that was that certainly could have gone either way, right? That there were about 20 minutes there where I was unsure who was going to win, and that's not very common. So CV Max has got to sit the boys down and try to calm everything down. I would say that one was a very kind of